So the state government presentation for the government of Odisha is being presented here today by Dr. Rashmi Sahoo. May I request him to please join us on stage. A very warm welcome, Dr. Sahoo. So I hand over the stage to you.
Sure. Thank you. Very good afternoon to all. So my name is Rashmi Ranjan Sahoo. On behalf of Startup Odisha, I am representing Dr. Omkar Rai. He, due to some emergency, he couldn't come here, but he was very much interested to attend this program, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. So I have been associated with Startup Odisha. It's an initiative of Government of Odisha under MSME department. Since 2016, we are functioning as a nodal body of Government of Odisha. Yeah, next slide please. So as I said, in 2016 we came up with the policy, Startup Odisha Policy 2016, with a vision of our visionary Honorable CM Naveen Patnaik. So to set up Odisha as one of the top 3 startup hub in the country, and to reach to that stage, currently I can proudly say that Startup Odisha or Government of Odisha is having the position of one of the top 3 startup hubs, as we have been recognizing as the top performer 2 times in 2018 and 2021, and also the leader state in 2019. Also, when we are saying recognizing startup or identifying startups in the state, is not the only mandate, but also to support them in various terms, also supporting in terms of financially and non-financially as well. When we are recognizing the startup, we are also encouraging most of the women entrepreneurs who are performing in our state. So 33% was the mandate that we were trying to reach out into by 2020, and again by now we have achieved it, and also 40%, more than 40% are led by women. When I am saying led by women startups, means 50% of the share of the company is led by the woman founder. Next slide please. Next slide. Yes, so I just mentioned that we are also supporting the recognized startups with some financial incentives. So these are the financial incentives that we are providing. But earlier to that, how we identify the startups. So startups, you all are aware of what is a startup who is having a scalable business model with an innovative solution that they are providing. And also, how come they are supporting the society or the market. So in that way, we have a definition, clear definition of startup, that it may be recognized with DPIIT Startup India, or having a incorporation not more than 7 years, and also the turnover should not cross 25 crores in a any financial year. We are not restricting startups those are operating in Odisha. We are also encouraging startups who are incorporated outside Odisha but the one of the eligibility criteria that if they are employing at least 50% of the manpower from Odisha, or in Odisha they have the operation. So they are encouraged to get associated with Startup Odisha and avail the benefits that we are providing to other startups in our states. So these are the financial support that we are providing. You can see, so we are starting up with the support of monthly allowance, which is one of the sustenance allowance. You all are aware of the startup company is normally started with a very few number of manpower. So they don't need manpower expenses. So 20,000 rupees we are providing them, which will borne the cost of an employee, or maybe the rental charge that they are getting charged by any incubator or co-working space where they are going to operate from. Secondly, when a startup who has already developed the product or already developed the prototype, further they want to develop it and bring it into the market. So product development and marketing assistance, that is up to 15 lakhs we are providing. And additionally, for the women-led startups or special category startups, we are also providing 1 lakh more to them. So based on the proposal what they are submitting, accordingly it will be approved by, there is a technical committee who will evaluate it, and accordingly that will be sanctioned directly to the account of the startup founder. The third benefit that you can see is need-based assistance, which is one of the assistance that Startup Odisha providing to startups. Those are into deep technology or rare to rare innovation kind of project. So this support we provide for R&D purpose or procuring of raw materials and equipments which is not available in our local market, and there is no limit for the grant we are providing. Just as you see, in sustenance allowance or monthly allowance we are providing 20,000 and 22,000, product development 15 or 16 lakhs, but in need base there is no number specified, because we believe that in R&D and procuring of raw materials and equipments is more funds will be required. But again, it has to be justified with the proposal that the startup is going to submit. Apart from these core incentives, we are also supporting startup to participate in national and international events. Just like this event, we are also sponsoring our startups to participate here. So whatever charge the organizer is charging to the startups, that will be borne by the state government. We are helping startup to showcase their product in all these events. Along with that, we are also helping to providing in the assistance for traveling allowances. If somebody is traveling nationally, we are giving them 8,000 rupees for traveling allowances, and for international travel currently we are providing 20,000 rupees per startups. Next slide. Apart from the direct financial incentives, these are the core non-financial incentives which are required by normally a initial stage of a startup. So these exemptions are available for startups for public procurement and the government labor department, and also the IP support we are also providing. Exemption of these things are available for startups if they are participating in a public procurement process. Next slide. As we are saying, startups are getting mentored or startups are getting incubated. So we are also encouraging the incubators, because we believe that incubators are the core pillars of a startup ecosystem. So incubators are encouraged to get associated with Startup Odisha by registering themselves. It may be an academic institution, it may be a private limited company who wants to set up and support startups further. So they will get registered and they will also ask certain kind of grant support from us. And whatever incentives I just spoke about, they are not any kind of debenture or loans, or it's totally a grant. Grant means they are taking the money and they have to submit a utilization certificate, and our core team will visit their site whether they have utilized the money properly or not. Similarly, for the incubators, we are providing one-time capital grant of 1 CR. That will be a matching grant. And additionally, for renowned institutions like IIT, NIT, IIMs, so they have a provision that they can ask up to 5 crores, 5 crores of capital grant. If any incubator is creating any success stories of startups, so per startups they can avail 5 lakh of performance capital grant. Also, to sustain an incubator for at least for a period of 3 years, we are providing reimbursement of utility expenses, which they can ask for their internet bills or electricity bills, or the mentors they are getting connected with the startups. So we all know that incubator has to provide mentorship, seed fund at an early stage, and also provide market connect to the startups. So again, if an incubator is coming up at a very early stage, they need any kind of hand holding. So government of Odisha is trying to help them by providing capacity development programs and providing exposure visit to various places like Delhi, NCR or Bangalore, where they will get an exposure to the market, how other incubators are performing. Next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide. So this is the achievement till now what we have achieved. So in 2016 we come up with the policy. In 2017 we created the one-stop solution of Startup Odisha, startupodisha.gov.in, where all our application will be received and all the recommendations and approvals will be done. Even if the startup is no need to visit our office physically for getting the amount or getting the grants what we are providing. For any kind of support also we are available on our toll-free numbers and other handles that we have. As I said, in 2019 we become the leader state by Startup India State Startup Ranking Framework. In 2021 we become the top performer again. So currently we have more than 1500 startups associated with, and we are aiming towards 5000 startup by 2025. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. So these are the best practices the Startup Odisha or Government of Odisha is eyeing into, and we are continuously trying to improvise on our practices and bringing more kind of support system for startups and others startup ecosystem stakeholders. So we have sector specific holistic policy. We are not only focusing to support startups. Startup Odisha policy is one. Along with that, there are other policies which are also supporting startups, like EV policy is also there, tourism policy is there, sports policy is there, agriculture policy is there, and all of these policies there is a mention of supporting startups. So any startups who are working in agriculture or education, so they will be supported by the state policy with the concerned department. Special focus on women-led startup. As I mentioned, we are not just supporting women-led startups by providing them extra grant, but also we are doing specific women-specific programs which will encourage them, which will identify whoever is having any kind of innovative solution and want to come up with a starting a business journey. So we are continuously working with all these women entrepreneurs based in Odisha. So we are providing the highest grant system in the country, you can say. If you compare other states, they may not be directly providing as grants. Some of the states they are providing as through any grant challenges or any kind of competitions. Some are providing once in a year, but our financial support system is throughout the year. As and when a startup is eligible to apply for the support, they can apply and the committee will start evaluating the applications. Next. So this is the current landscape of Startup Odisha. We, as I said, more than 1500 startups are associated with us. 26 sector-specific incubators. 75 e-cells. E-cells means entrepreneurship cells. Startup class we have set up in various educational institutions. We are not only focusing into in colleges, but also we are encouraging school students to identify their ideas, whatever ideas coming to their mind, how they can convert into startups. But it is not possible for a school student to start a startup. That is why what we are doing is we are connecting these young minds with the existing startups to work with them for a summer project and to identify how these startups are functioning through this program that we have planned. So these young minds can identify whether they can also become an entrepreneurs in the near future. They should not focus on going for employment, but also creating employment for the state. More than 600 startups are led by women. Nodal agencies are the technical agencies who evaluates the applications of the startups, like all the R&D institutions, all the technical institutions, they evaluate the applications. So you can see 150 startups, out of this 1500 startups, 150 startups are financially linked outside. So apart from our grants what we provide, they have also raised funds from other sources, from VCs and angel investors, they have raised funds. And this is the amount 357 CR by 2020-22 end. This is the amount what our startups has raised funds from investors. Next slide. This is the sector wise distribution of this 1500 startups. So most of the startups they will automatically belong to IT, because normally if somebody is working on aggregation or somebody is working on agriculture also, they will put their automatically into IT. And IT doesn't mean that information technology only, it's a vast thing. SaaS will also come under it, IoT will also come under it, and other things. That's why the number is. But apart from that, Odisha is having good number of startups into agriculture and agri-tech, and also educations and health tech startups. So few of our startups here also showcasing their products. One is into health tech and also another one is into drone technology. Next slide. Few of our promising startups who has raised the funds also. You can see how much money they have raised till date. So iServU is one of the startups who is acquired by one of the fintech company from Mumbai, News in Fintech, News and Fintech. So they have raised 150 CR from News in. Inocule is one of a kind of startups. The founder is from IIT Bombay. He worked with Indian Oil. He left the company. He started his company in 2017. They got 2 times national awards for startups. And this company is into profitable. They have not raised any money. They have taken loan from bank. Now they are into profitability. What they are doing actually, they have created a chemical which will be required by the steel companies. For what purpose? The wastage of the ore, how they can reuse the ore, and the ore will be more useful with the chemical that they have produced. So most of the steel companies are using their products and they are profitable in 5 years. Fresh this is another agri-based company. They are into live fish or live non-veg products. So the company was started by a person who belongs to a very rural area of Odisha, Kalahandi. That guy was working with central government in Delhi. His wife was working with Zomato. She left the job. Both of them went to Kalahandi. They started working with the SHG groups, self-help groups, and they created a community, encouraged the people how they can also join hands with them. Further, they started creating a company called Jufresh. They have raised funds from Microsoft, Accentures, and other funding agencies in India. And they are one of the success stories of India nowadays also. And their story has been forecasted in Forbes India. Nexus, again, a story of 2 twin sisters. They are creating a product which will be an alternative for lithium-ion battery. The product they are developing will be created with the wastages of crops. So that will create energy and it will become an alternative. They have also recently raised some funds. Bonby Aero, they are into drone technology, one of a kind startup. They have developed a drone which is lifting a product of more than 50 kg. And this product they have developed specifically eyeing for defense purpose. So already Ministry of Defense already given them a nod that they will develop a product which will be used in the border line for delivery. But nowadays they are also creating a product which will be helpful for delivering of medicines and other stationary kind of things. But in quantity wise, when we are talking about during the corona also, some startups have developed drones which is helping to deliver your food or medicines in a small size, but their product is into a large quantity size. Idrex, one medtech company, they have created a device which will help you to identify 5 parameters of your health without taking blood from your body. So that device they have developed recently. Mankind and Sun Pharma has been collaborated with this Idrex company for this same product, and Government of Odisha under the health department is also using their product in many of the dispensaries operating in Odisha. Next slide. So this picture you can see, this is called O-Hub, and this building is not just an incubator but this is an incubator set up by the state government itself, and we run this incubator, and this is called the mother incubator for the state, where we are giving space for startups. We are bringing startup enablers, and also we are providing space for the incubators as well. So if any corporate or any industry wants to set up any accelerator or incubator in this space, so they can also access to it. Next slide. So these are our supported Fab Labs and Center of Excellences operated in Odisha. Next slide. So few of the prominent academic institutes. Odisha, if you heard about Bhubaneswar, so Bhubaneswar is the education hub for Eastern India, and students from West Bengal, Jharkhand, Northeast and Odisha are coming for studies in Bhubaneswar. So these are the prominent institutions. Those are associated with Startup Odisha directly or indirectly. When I am saying directly, they are our nodal agencies and incubators. Indirectly, when they are supporting our startups by providing access to their labs and mentorship. Next slide. So 26 incubators. These are our sector specific 26 incubators. Next. Some of the angel network and VC networks, those have already funded our startups, and they are continuously guiding the ecosystem and also startups how to go for fundraising. Next slide. Some of the knowledge industries who are also associated with us. Now Bhubaneswar is also becoming a knowledge hub or startup hub. That's why co-working spaces, earlier in 2020, 16 or 17 there was no such co-working space. But nowadays there are 14 co-working spaces operating in Bhubaneswar itself, and they are opening for not just for freelancer but also encouraging community development with the help of startups and startup ecosystem enablers. Next slide. Now, why Odisha is a land of opportunities for startups, incubators, investors, or anybody like any industry? So, Odisha is the most advantageous state for ease of doing business, not just for startups, not just for MSME, but also for big industries. The ease of doing business is very quick, and in a single platform, everybody can just apply and they can track their progress, how they will get access to the facilities. Highest monetary benefits, as I mentioned, for startups. So world-class infrastructure, as you see, OHub is one of them. Other infrastructure, not just in Bhubaneswar, but also we are trying to reach out all corners of the state. If you have heard, Raulkela is another smart city in Odisha. There is Sambalpur, there is Cuttack, there is Berhampur. So we are reaching out other parts also, and not just from Bhubaneswar startups are coming. There are startups who are coming from very rural areas, and it doesn't mean that only IIT, NIT students will create startups. But I will give you an example. IIT students means after 10th, so they are into technicians. So that guy developed one product which was a product which will help you generate electricity wirelessly. So now we have wireless chargers in our cars, but you no need to put your phone on that place. Only just keep the charger somewhere and your phone automatically is charged by Bluetooth. Again, that guy developed a product which is now the bike running on water, and they are not having mindset of developing for business, but that guy is an innovator after passing out from ITI. So we are not ignoring talents or innovators like this. We are encouraging them that they will get associated with more entrepreneurs and also get mentored. So we have 100 crores of fund for startups that will be invested on startups registered with Startup Odisha. I just mentioned it's a hub for education and R&D. And these are the focus sectors that we are encouraging any startups who wants to come and set up, because we have huge resources on these sectors and supported policy also. So agriculture, food processing, emerging technology, art and handicraft. Odisha is known for handloom, tourism, and metal and metallurgy. If you know Odisha, so Odisha is known for minerals, mines, and metallurgy. Next slide. Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.